Welcome to King Says So, a channel that advocates for one Africa, one land, one Africa, one language, one Africa, one currency, one Africa, one army. I wish to witness Africans all around the world united as one in our lifetime. Enjoy.
Black Heart, the hustle continua. 100% good quality t-shirts, made to inspire your goals and dreams. T-shirts are now available at an affordable price. Place your order now. 068-473-6908. Instagram at Black7576. Facebook page Black Heart.
Peace in Pan-Africanism. Ladies and gentlemen all around the world, it's your boy King 053, Mr. Easy Imali Enengi, and we're back at it again with another one, and it does not stop. The Pan-Africanism spirit is all around the world. Every African is feeling this fire, it's contagious and everything. Before I start, let me start by thanking everyone who has subscribed and who's actively participating in the channel. King Said So on the comment section, liking it, subscribing. It's very important for us guys to hit that 10,000 subscribers before the end of the year. Let me just say thank you to Swaziland. They are always on the comment section. Say thank you to Lesotho, always on the comment section. Family. Let me say thank you to Zimbabwe, always on the comment section. And I see Zambia is always on the comment section, just like Botswana, always on the comment section. Namibia, always on the comment section. Kenya is always on the comment section. We are family with the Kenyans. They know now who we are since this Judas Malema situation. And of course, the three big fish, Burkina Faso, Mali and Nigeria. All my brothers in the US, thank you so much for tuning in. And all my African brothers in the UK. Asia, you're not making a noise. If you're from Asia, go on the comment section and tell me where you're watching us from Asia so I can give you a shout out next time. So ladies and gentlemen, this time around I'm speaking about Vusi Thembekwayo. Me and Vusi, we've got a love and hate type of relationship. Vusi is a brother that I don't want to say grew up looking up to, because me and Vusi were almost the same age. Eh? He's a brother in the last 10 years. When you look at his portfolio of work, you can't help but to be inspired by how much this man is. He's a multi-millionaire. He has got multiple companies that he has started from the ground and propelled to millions of rands. You know, his story, being raised by his mother and everything, is so inspirational. And I will advise you to follow him on YouTube, follow him on what you call this thing, Instagram, Facebook, or whatever. Vusi is a good brother. Although me and him we have topics that we don't agree with. But I'm asking myself, which fountain that Vusi drank from? Because this Vusi that's speaking now is the Vusi that I loved from the beginning. And I was asking myself, where is this Vusi? So Vusi has come, he was in Nigeria, a guest speaker there, some businessmen speaking fire there. And he has said some serious things. I just want us to listen to it, and as Africans try to unpack it here at King Said So, and then, you know, debate about what he's saying on the comment section. Thank you so much, guys. Let's listen to Vusi Thembekwayo.
I'm not sure how many of us have traveled to my country of South Africa. Any of you here? Hands up. When you do, and I hope for all of you that you do, which, by the way, side note, a conversation we must have, and Brother Pojo, I don't know how we do this. We need to convene the leaders of this continent to talk about this visa story. This is a disaster. And let me just say the following. I struggle to understand why I can land in Paris, get on a train and end up in Brussels. But if I want to move from Joburg to Gaborone, I must produce a passport. Who's the genius that came up with the scheme? You know, the Europeans are so quick to tell us that we can't bundle ourselves into a single block, but they've done it. When you publish this, you must just leave that part out because I'm busy raising money from them. You know, I don't know. They're going to say he's too radical.
I don't know how many times we as Africans have to make a noise with this visa issue. I don't know how many times we have to say, as an African-born child, you should not need a visa to travel in Africa. And people always confuse that. They thinking illegal traveling and all. No, we are not saying you should not identify yourself. Of course, when you go into another country, at the airport or wherever, you should identify yourself. But we are saying you should be free in terms of movement in Africa. This will then create that thing of free trade spirit, intercultural trades, learning about each other. You go to Zimbabwe, you learn how to Taura. You go to Zambia, you learn their language. You go to Mozambique, you learn their language. This is what we are talking about. The problem is the colonizers have boxed us into these small boxes. Now we're trying to own our own boxes. When you are a wild animal and you are put in the cage and they open the cage, you don't even want to leave the cage because you are so used to that environment. That's what that's the problem we have. Myself also, I can include myself. I've been only in Lesotho, Mozambique, Namibia. Is that it? Just imagine. I can speak Swahili. I've never been in any of the countries that speak Swahili. I can speak Shona. I've never been in Zimbabwe. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. And I've got a lot of Zimbabwean brothers that are hitting me up on the comment section, want to do business. They want to, that's the spirit of no visa, borderless Africa. Let's travel the way we want in Africa. Let's quickly listen to another thing that Vusi spoke about. That is, Vusi was on fire, guys. Vusi was on fire. I'm telling you, the Nigerians were blessed to have a brother, a pure good representative of South Africa. As a public speaker, Vusi is one of the best that we have in the continent, in fact, according to my opinion. Let's listen to him, what he says about young people saying it's their time.
Last night I was invited by a friend of mine who is from Ghana and he's in South Africa as well. So we went out for some dinner and spent some time with some young people. And I often hear young people today say things like this. It's time for young people to rise. It's time for the old people to move out of the way. It's time, it's time, it's time. Let me tell you, young people, there is no old person going anywhere. If you want that seat in that office, in that boardroom, in that chamber, in that ministry, you're going to have to fight for it because power isn't given, it's taken. And so the question as our continent rises is, will we be men and women of courage? Will we be the generation in 50 years' time that our children reference and say, they did it right? They had the template for how to truly pull out of each other the ability to work with each other. And something fascinating is happening today. I must tell you this. This is the good news. The good news is that we're no longer separated. The good news is that we find each other. The good news is that in this room, there are people who are following Vusi Thembekwayo on Instagram. I know I'm very good looking on Instagram, I must tell you, I am very good looking on Instagram. But the good news is that even I have the privilege of following a Professor Lumumba's work. No matter where in the world I find myself, where there are Africans who are speaking, leading, evangelizing, and growing others, we now have the ability to find each other. The true question is, will we have the ability to build with each other? You see, to date, our building strategies all center on these borders that were drawn for us and not by us. And so it becomes the question of, is your nation thriving versus mine? I had this conversation with a friend of mine who also works in capital markets like me in South Africa. I said, I'm really confused by this feud we have with Nigeria. I genuinely don't understand it. Why do we constantly migrate to the global north, and South Africa tries to posture against Nigeria and Nigeria against South Africans? What's the game here? What's the gambit? Whom is it that we're trying to please, and against whom are we trying to please them? Because each time we find our leaders playing that game, the question perhaps we should ask is, who is the master you're trying to please?
Ladies and gentlemen, what Vusi is saying is true. There's no one that's going to give us young people power. No one. These old Madalas, they are holding on to their youth memories and holding on to positions of power and position of influence. And because they are not hungry for the future, most of our politicians are dragging their feet in terms of implementing some policies. You ask yourself, why is it that Africa only has 4 countries where you can go without having a border? It's 3. We are waiting for the 4th one to be Kenya from December. According to William Ruto, we are waiting to see if it's true. Understand? Because Kenya is not a small country. Kenya is a very beautiful country. Many people are moving actually to Kenya. Kenya has been compared to South Africa in terms of the development and everything. Kenya is one of the big powerhouses in Africa. Don't sleep on Kenya, because the only issue with Africa is that we're not good in advertising ourselves. South Africa is good in advertising itself, but only on the entertainment side. But when it comes to the business sector and everything, South Africa is not doing a good job. And it requires, taking power requires young men and women of courage. That's what Vusi said. And I want to believe that me and you have got courage. We are not just meeting here on YouTube just to speak and have no actions, absolutely no actions from our words. That is embarrassing. My greatest fear is my children, my children asking me, but Daddy, what did you do? And I have no answer to that. No answer to that. Every generation had a role to play in the black agenda. If I speak about South Africa, we have the Mandela generation. Those ones, their job was to fight the apartheid system and try to bring us to a democratic South Africa. They did their job. Once they got into parliament, there was then that generation of Thabo Mbeki, Jacob Zuma, Cyril Ramaphosa, them, who were then to carry on and run the logistic, the administrative sides of government. And then what you have, you've got guys like us. We are the current generation, in our 30s, going to our 40s. We'll be old very soon. Time flies, ladies and gentlemen. But will we be able to answer the question, what did we do as this generation that is so technologically connected? I mean, technology is bringing us close. Technology is connecting us with people that we don't even have to meet face to face to do business. We don't have to meet. Black Hat Clothing contacted me on email, via email. Say, King, love what you're doing, want to work with you. I've got a brother from Zimbabwe who said, King, I've got land outside. What do you want to do? You South Africans are struggling with land. I've got land. Let's work. I've got a brother that is in Eastern Cape saying one of the provinces that says, King, next year is the elections. How can I help? Here's a strategy. Let's attack the provinces. Let's do this. I've got others that are saying, King, I've got a lady in Joburg that's saying, King, I want to start a foundation. I want us to move school to school, preaching Pan-Africanism. Are you in? Things like that. And I can go on and on. These are people that I have not seen with my eyes. And people like you who's watching this channel are buying these t-shirts. I mean, Black Heart is sending me messages. King, there's already someone in Eastern Cape that has already paid the order. Thank you so much. I did nothing. They did their job. It's not me. It's their product. You understand what I'm saying? So we should fear not doing anything. A generation that is scared of taking a risk. You don't want to start a business. You don't want to take a risk. You don't want to challenge the status quo. You don't want to do anything. And you are young. You will never get this youth here again. If you are 20 something years old, from 21 to 29, I'm telling you, make sure that you stay in the gym. Make sure that you are taking risk. Make sure that you are adventurous. Make sure that you are meeting people. Make sure that you are educating yourself. Because I'm telling you, what you are supposed to do in your 20s, you will not be able to do in your 30s. I'm telling you. I'm just telling you, the body will not allow you to be as useful as your 30s. In your 30s, you are still useful, but you've got a little bit of wisdom. Use that wisdom. You are never going to be as young and fresh as you are today, this year. Even if you are 50 and you are working out, you've got a six pack, you are not the same as a young guy who's 32 years old. You know, the endurance is not the same. The testosterone levels is not the, nothing is the same. You might look the same, but you are not the same inside biologically. So we really should be striving to to take the most risks and also identify our role in the black agenda. What is it? And for me, it looks like for our generation is connecting the country, the 54 countries of Africa. It looks like that is our mission, connecting, opening the borders, import and exchange right here in Africa, making sure that Africa is independent from the rest of the world. I believe that is our our mission, and then the next generation will be now to win our African brothers and sisters in Asia, in America, to come back to Africa. Understand? But we are the ones who must fix Africa first for those who are coming back, to make sure that they find a functional Africa. Let's hear also again, what does he say about um, conscientizing each other about our cultures? Wow, wow, Vusi, I'm impressed. Vusi.
And so, even in my own native land of South Africa, the work as South Africans we must do is to conscientize each other about the continent. In my mind, and I was listening to your comments, ma'am, about the youth service, I'm seized to understand and failing to understand why we are not deliberately sending young people into other parts of the continent. Experience the culture, live with the people.
You know, I always fight with white people in South Africa who can't greet even in one South African language. We've got 10 official languages. I'm now excluding sign language and Afrikaans, because if you're Afrikaans, I'm just putting you in that category. We've got 10 languages that white people in South Africa can learn at least one language, and most of them are refusing to learn. Now let's leave the white people alone. You as an African, you don't know how to greet in Kiswahili. You don't know, you're complaining that there's so many Zimbabweans in South Africa. You don't know how to greet in Shona. You don't know how to greet in Sotho. Some of you from Lesotho, you don't know how to greet in Swati. Some of you, you don't know anything. What is our problem? Why are we not interlinking and educating each other? Why are we not concerned about conscientizing each other about other people's cultures? And this is not other people. This is our different, our mother and I mean our brother and sister from a different mother. This is just what is happening here. But you don't want to learn anything about Africa. You cannot be on this channel. King said so, and you don't want to learn other people's languages. I think this time around, I'm going to attack Igbo. I'm going to attack one of the languages in in Nigeria, and we're going to learn because I've got a lot of Nigerian friends. I think that one would be easier for me. So it is time for us to really conscientize ourselves. What is happening in Namibia? Who's the president of Namibia? Who's the president of Zimbabwe? Do you know the president of Uganda? Huh? Do you know who's the current president, the youngest president in Africa? If you don't have that answer, you are not concerned as to what is happening in Africa. And that is why these channels of Pan-Africanism are there to try and awake your African spirit. The last clip I want to play from Vusi, he says you can only lock the vault that has got money in it. Listen to this wisdom from Vusi Thembekwayo.
Theory. And here is my theory. You only lock the vault where there is money. And so maybe there's a reason you've been kept out of that neighboring country. Maybe there's a reason you've been kept out of that neighboring region. Maybe there's a reason you can't travel to that other place. Because if you were to, there is something you might do that would help us build what we all know we are capable of. So first, keep them away from each other. Second, convince them that they're enemies with each other. And third, convince them that the other one is better than the other one. And before you're done, they will hate each other so much you don't even need to pass policy or law. And in the middle of all of this, here we sit as young people, fruitfully connected by the HTTPS. And we're more worried about what's trending and commenting on it, rather than how do we meaningfully build with each other and do business. I came to tell you here today that I'm only interested in meaningfully building and doing business. I'm only interested in understanding how do we take the platform and put it in Johannesburg or put it in Cape Town.
Wow. Wow. The overseas market, or the powerhouses of the world has forced us Africans to believe that we are better than other African countries. South Africa has got this entitlementship that they are better than Zimbabweans. And I'm not talking about better in terms of educational level or anything like that, or economical status. No, better human. You know how white people look at us and think that they are better than us? Us as black people, we are also looking at each other like that. We find ourselves when we see a darker skinned person, and I'm actually dark. I don't know, is this lights, LED light, that make me look lighter in skin? But I'm a dark chocolate. I'm a brown chocolate. You see a dark person, a darker skinned complexion person, and you laugh at the pigmentation, and like you look at how black you are. You are so black. You are like, doing that black jokes. They have managed to divide and conquer us. They have really managed to divide and conquer us. And that's the only way you can beat Africa, by keeping us divided. Now, Africans, if we don't fight to unite, our children will suffer the same cry that we are crying. And maybe our children will not be strong like me and you, character-wise, will-wise. We don't know what is going to be introduced. Another pandemic might attack the world. Maybe every generation from now on is going to face a pandemic. AI is coming. Who knows what will be? People will be focusing on jobs because AI will be taking a lot of jobs and all of that. The black agenda will always be pushed aside. It will always be pushed aside, and no one will be talking about African unity. If me and you don't do it, I'm telling you, we are the last generation to speak about Pan-Africanism. So much is going to change, ladies and gentlemen. Let us not just be a group that meets on I'm repeating this, on YouTube, on social media. Vusi says, I'm only interested in making business. And that's me, ladies and gentlemen. You, don't look at me as a friend here on YouTube. I'm not your friend. If you come into my life, I am there to contribute something positive concerning Pan-Africanism, concerning the black agenda. Don't need friends. We, we are meeting because of that, or because of business. I'm making you money, you making me money. I'm pushing your brand forward, you pushing my brand forward. That's it. Why would we want to meet each other? We are old guys now. I'm speaking about us who are in our 30s. We are old now. There's no time for meeting friends for socialism, for social reasons, going out for drinks. We have no business going out for drinks. Absolutely no business. Our generation is being lost in clubs and taverns and in drugs. The black agenda is pushed aside. We are not doing what we're supposed to be doing in our generation. And our generation is going to be lost in history because we are not moving in groups. Vusi Thembekwayo is alone. Who is Vusi working with? Where is Vusi's team? We should be seeing young Vusis in his team and things like that. From this YouTube channel, I should be able to give birth to 10 other YouTube channels that are going to speak about Pan-Africanism. That is how. Multiply yourself, ladies and gentlemen. So, very impressed with what Vusi said. Tell me if you enjoyed this episode, and I'm gonna hit you with another one. I'm going to hit you with another one. Brian, what is Brian's name again? Kahoro. Brian Kahoro, and I'm sure that is not how you pronounce it because I'm pronouncing it in a Tswana way. Brian is a what you call a human right activist from Zimbabwe. Just I'm going to drop that video after this one. Thank you so much, or I'm gonna drop them at the same time. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Please, we are aiming for this 10,000 subscribers before the end of the year. We are aiming for it. From the bottom of my heart, I believe we can do it. I honestly believe that we can do it. Please, if you haven't already, you are at home, African child. Don't despair. You are at home. Here we are here to help each other. We are here to promote African unity. Please click the subscribe button. Please spread the word. Please share these videos on your WhatsApp status. Everywhere you can share the videos, I will really appreciate it. Let's spread this word of African unity. Until we meet next time, don't forget to pray. And after you pray, unite with us so that we can do the best and God will do the rest. I salute you. Peace in Pan-Africanism.